Persistent inflation and high interest rates are just numbers on the page until you see the impact. As prices and interest rates soar, the hard-earned money in people's pay packets buys less and less. Families struggle over having to cut back on simple pleasures like eating out, buying meat, heating their homes, or paying for participation in kids' sport. Parents swallow their pride and make sacrifices, haunted by the fear of failing to provide for their loved ones. They work extra hours and dig deeper into savings which are the foundation of their future aspirations. At a time of uncertainty with the softening job market, families agonise over how to make ends meet if the worst should happen. A whole generation of Australians haven't experienced this until now. Aspirations like home ownership, higher education and a comfortable retirement slip away, and the cycle is self-fulfilling. Each piece of economic news and false promises from politicians erode hope, leaving families feeling trapped in a cycle of despair. But the strain doesn't stop with families. 50% of small business loans are secured against the family home. Small businesses, the backbone of our communities right across Australia, are buckling under the weight of repeated interest rate hikes, 12 since Labor came to power. This is the reality of life under Labor as Australians have become poorer. Despite being promised cheaper mortgages, cheaper power bills and a lower cost of living before the election, Australians have seen nothing of the sort. Instead, they face a reality where both hope and certainty are in short supply. Now, alongside raging inflation, Australia is in an entrenched GDP per person recession. Our standard of living has fallen by more than 7% since the last election, a collapse unprecedented and unparalleled in other advanced economies. Real wages for working households have collapsed by around 9%. Our consumer confidence remains entrenched at recessionary lows. McKinsey has labelled Australia as being in a productivity recession. The number of unemployed people and the number of people on job seeker caseload are increasing. And most alarmingly, youth unemployment is on the rise. We've seen over 16,000 businesses enter insolvency since June 2022, and The Economist has declared that Australia has the most persistent inflation of any advanced country in the world. Inflation remains stubborn because our policy settings are not right. Domestic inflation is running at more than five times imported inflation, and the RBA Governor has declared that Australia's inflation is homegrown. So, given this context of persistent inflation and a household recession, the Coalition, and was myself working very closely with Jane Hume and Peter Dutton, of course, and the economic team, called for a budget that focused on three things. First, restoring our standard of living and taming inflation by taking pressure off the prices of essentials and delivering affordable energy for families and businesses. Second, restoring a pathway to prosperity that creates opportunity for all Australians, so small businesses are rewarded for their effort and young Australians have the chance to own a home. Third, restoring budget discipline and honesty, including reintroducing the Coalition's fiscal rules, which have been in place prior to this government since the 1990s. On any assessment, this budget cannot be said to have met those tests. We've now seen three Labor budgets, three chances to make the right decisions, to focus on the right priorities. Labor's only answer has been for a big spending, big government and big Australia approach. And economists from KPMG to Deloitte, HSBC, Barrenjoey to private and public sector economists like Richard Holden, Stephen Hamilton, Warren Hogan and Judith Sloan are unanimous that Labor's approach is making the situation worse, not better. The result is homegrown inflation that has made Australians poorer.